ITIL management practices. ITIL management practices. First, continual improvement. Second, information security management. Third, relationship management. Fourth, supplier management. Fifth, change enablement. Sixth, incident management. Seventh, Itsm Management. Eighth, monitoring and event management. Ninth, program management. 10th, release management. Service configuration management. Service desk. Service level management. Service request management. Deployment management. In ITIL management practices. In ITIL, management practices is a set of original resources designed for performing work or accomplishing objectives. The origins of the practices are as follows. General management practices have been adopted and adopted for service management from general business management domains. Service management practices have been developed in service management and the ITSM industries. Technical management practices have been adopted from technology management domains for service management, proposed by expanding or shifting their focus from technology solutions to IT services. Continual improvement, information security management, relationship management, supplier management, change enablement, incident management, ITSM management, monitoring and event management, program management, release management, service configuration management, service desk, service level management, service request management, deployment management. The purpose of continual improvement practice is to align the organization's practices and services with changing business needs through the ongoing improvement of product, services, and practices, or any elements involved in the management of product and services. Continual improvement is everyone's responsibility. In every step of improvement, you should consider focus on value guiding principle. When planning continual improvement, an organization should always develop competencies in methodologies and techniques that will meet their needs. Most organizations adopt continual improvement by selecting a few key methods for the types of improvement that the organization handles. Training and other enablement assistance should be provided to staff members to help them feel prepared to continual improvement. There should at least be a small team dedicated full team to leading continual improvement efforts and advocating the practices across the organization. This team can serve as coordinators, guides, and mentors. Continual improvement register is a database or structured document used to track and manage the improvement ideas from identification through final actions. Some organizations can have more than one CIR, while other organizations can maintain a single master CIR but segment how it is used and by whom at a more regular level. Continual improvement register CIR should be reprioritized as ideas are documented. Continual improvement. Key activities that are part of a continual improvement practice include encouraging continual improvement across the organization, securing time and budget for continual improvement, identifying and logging improvement opportunities, assessing and prioritizing improvement opportunities, making business cases for improvement actions, planning and implementing improvements, measuring and evaluating improved results, coordinating improvement activities across the organization. Information security management. The purpose of the information security management practices is to protect the information needed by the organization to conduct its business. This includes understanding and managing risks to the confidentiality, integrity, and availability (CIA) of information, as well as other aspects of information security such as identification, ensuring someone is who they claim to be, and non-repudiation, ensuring that someone cannot deny that they took an action. Relationship management. The purpose of the relationship management practices is to establish and nurture the risks link between the organization and its stakeholders at a strategic and tactical level. It includes the identification, analysis, monitoring, and the continual improvement of relationships with and between stakeholders. Supplier management. The purpose of the supplier management practices is to ensuring that the organization's suppliers and their performances are managed appropriately to support the seamless provision of quality products and services. This includes creating more collaborative relationships with key suppliers to uncover and realize new value and reduce the risk of failure. Change enablement. The purpose of the change enablement practices is to maximize the number of successful service and product changes by ensuring that risks have been properly assessed, authorizing changes to proceed, and managing the change schedules. Change the addition, modification, or removal or anything that could have direct or indirect effect on service. The scope of change enablement is defined by each organization. It will typically include all IT infrastructures, applications, documentations, process, supplier relationships, and anything else that might directly or indirectly impact a product or service. It is important to distinguish change enablement from organizational change management. Organizational change management manages the people aspect of changes to ensure that improvement and organizational transformation initiatives are implemented successfully. Change enablement is usually focused on changes in products and services. Change enablement must balance the need to make beneficial changes that will deliver additional value with the need to protect customers and users from adverse effects of weak changes. All changes should be assessed by people who are able to understand the risks and the expected benefits. The changes must then be authorized before they are deployed. This assessment should not be introduced unnecessary delays. Change authority, the person or group who authorized a change. It is essential that the correct change authority is assigned to each type of change to ensure that change enablement is both effective and efficient. Change enablement, change types, standard changes. Those are low risk, pre-authorized changes that are well understood and fully documented and can be implemented without needing additional authorization. They are often initiated as service requests but may also be operational changes. When the procedure for a standard change is created or modified, there should be a full risk assessment and authorization as for any other changes. The risk assessment does not need to be repeated each time the standard change is implemented. It only needs to be done if there is a modification to the way it is carried out. Change types, normal changes. These are changes that need to be scheduled, assessed, and authorized following processes. Changing models based on the type of change determine the doors for assessment and authorization. Some normal changes are low risk, and the change authority for these is usually someone who can make rapid decisions, often using automation to speed up the change. Other normal changes are very major, and the change authority could be as high as the management board or equivalent. Initiation of a normal change is triggered by the creation of a change request. Change types, emergency changes. These are changes that must be implemented as soon as possible. For example, to resolve an incident or implement a security patch. Emergency changes are not included in the change schedule, and the process of assessment and authorization is expedited to ensure they can be implemented quickly as far as possible. Emergency changes should be subject to the same testing, assessment, and authorization as normal changes, but it may be acceptable to defer some documentation until after the change has been implemented, and sometimes it will be necessary to implement the change with less testing due to time constraint. There may also be separate change authority for emergency changes, typically including a small number of senior managers who understand the business risk involved. The change schedule, a calendar that shows planned and historic changes. The change schedule is used to help plan changes, assist in communication, avoid conflict, and assign the resources. It can also be used after changes have been deployed to provide information needed for incident management, problem management, and improvement planning. Regardless of who the change authority is, they may need to communicate widely across the organization. For example, risk assessment may require them to gather input from many people with special knowledge. Additionally, there is usually a need to communicate information about the change to ensure people are fully prepared before the change is deployed. Incident management. The purpose of incident management practice is to minimize the negative impact of incident by restoring normal service operation as quickly as possible. Incident, unplanned interruption to a service or reduction in the quality of service. Anyone can report an incident, and every incident should be logged and managed to ensure it is resolved in a time that meets the expectations of customers and users. Target resolution times are agreed, documented, and communicated to ensure that expectations are realistic. Incidents are prioritized based on agreed classification to ensure that incidents with the highest business impact are resolved first. Then this can be won by helping direct the incident to the correct support area if needed. Incident management. Organizations should design their incident management practices to provide appropriate management and resources allocation to different types of incidents. Incidents with low impact must be managed efficiently to ensure that they don't consume too many resources. Incidents with a larger impact may require more resources and more complex management. There are usually separated processes for managing major incidents and for managing information security incidents. Information about incidents should be stored in incident record in a suitable tool. The tool should provide links to related configuration items, CIs, changes, problems, known errors, and other knowledges to enable quick and efficient diagnosis and recovery. Modern IT service management tools can provide automated matching of incident to other incident, problems, or known errors, and can provide intelligent analysis of incident data to generate recommendations for helping with future incidents. Effective incident management often requires high level of collaboration within and between teams. These teams may include service desk, technical support, application support, and vendors. Some organizations use techniques called swarming to help managing incidents. This involves many different stakeholders working together initially until it becomes clear which of them is best places to continue and which can move on to other tasks. There should be formal processes for logging and managing incidents. This process does not usually include detailed procedures for how to diagnose, investigate, and resolve the incident, but can provide techniques for making investigation and diagnosis for efficient. There may be a script for collecting information from users during initial contact, and this may be read directly to diagnosis and resolution of simple incident. Investigation of more complicated incidents often requires knowledge and expertise rather than procedure steps. ITSM management. The purpose of the ITSM management practice is to plan and manage the full life cycle of IT assets to help the organization maximize value, control cost, management risk, support decision making about the purchase, reuse, retirement, and the disposal of assets, meet regulatory and contractual requirements, IT assets, any financial valuable component that can contribute to the delivery of an IT product and service, asset register, a database of a list of assets, capturing key attributes such as ownership and financial values. The purpose of the monitoring and event management practice is to systematically observe services and service components, recorded and reported selected changes of state identified as event. This practice identifies and prioritizes infrastructure, services, business processes, and information security events, and establishes the appropriate response of those events, including responding to conditions that could lead to potential fault and incident. Any event, any changes of state that has significance for management of service or other configuration items (CI). Events are typically recognized through a notification created by the IT service, CI, or monitoring tool. Event monitoring and event management. Events can be classified to informational. It requires no action at the time they are be identified, but analyzing the data gathered from them at a later date may uncover desirable proactive steps that can be beneficial to service. Warning: it allows action to be taken before any negative impact is actually experienced by the business. Exception: it indicates that breach to an established norm has been identified, though example to service level agreement. Exception event require action, even though business impact may not yet have been experienced. Program management. The purpose of the program management practice is to reduce the likelihood and impact of incident by identifying actual and potential causes of incident and managing workaround and known errors. Program: a cause or potential cause of one or more incident. Known error: a problem that has been analyzed but has not been resolved. Workaround: a solution that reduces or eliminates the impact of an incident or problem for which a full resolution is not available. Some workarounds reduce the likelihood of incident. Workarounds are documented in the program record. Incidents have impacted on users or business processes and must be resolved so that normal business activity can take place. Problems are the cause of incident. They require investigation and analysis to identify the causes, develop workaround, and recommend the long-term resolution. This reduces the number and impact of future incidents. Continual improvement and change enablement practices are typically involved in the implementation of the problem resolution. Information about problem and known errors contribute to incident management by enabling quick and efficient diagnosis of incident. Problem management involves three distinct phases: problem identification, problem control, and error control. Problem identification, problem management. Problem identification. These activities identify and log problems. These include performing trend analysis of incident record, detection of duplicating and recurring issues by users, service desk, and technical support staff. During major incident management, identifying a risk that an incident could recur. Analyzing information received from suppliers and partners. Analyzing information received from internal software developers, test teams, and project teams. Problem control. These activities include problem analysis and documenting workaround and known errors. When a problem cannot be resolved quickly, it is often useful to find and document a workaround future incident. If a workaround has been documented early in problem control, then this should be reviewed and improved after problem analysis have been completed. An effective incident workaround can become a permanent way of dealing with some problem when resolving the problem is not viable or cost effective. In this case, the problem remains in the known error status. In some cases, the workaround application cannot be automated. Error control. These activities include fixing the errors resulting from problems, including identification of potential permanent solutions which may result in a change request for implementation of the solution, but only if this can be justified in terms of cost, risk, and benefits. Error control regularly reassesses the status of known errors that have not been resolved, including overall impact on customers, availability, and the cost of permanent resolutions, and the effectiveness of workaround. The effectiveness of workaround should be evaluated each time workaround is used, as workaround may be improved based on assessment. Release management. The purpose of the release management practice is to make new and change services and features available for use. Release a version of service or other configuration item or a collaboration of configuration items that is made available for use. Service configuration management. The purpose of the service configuration management practices is to ensure that accurate and reliable information about the configuration of service and the configuration items CI that support them. It is available when and where it is needed. This includes information on how CI are configured and the relationship between them. Configuration item, any component that needs to be managed in order to deliver an IT service. Service configuration management collects and manages information about a wide variety of CIs, typically including hardware, software, networks, buildings, people, suppliers, and documentation. Services are also treated as CIs. Configuration management system, CMS, a set of tools, data, and information that is used to support service configuration management. Configuration information can be stored and published in one or more configuration management database, CMDB. The purpose of the service desk practices is to capture demand for incident resolution and the service requests. It should also be the entity point and the single point of contact, SPOC. Single point of contact, SPOC, for the service provider with all of its users. Service desk provide a clear path for users to report issues, queries, and requests, and have them acknowledged, classified, owned, and actioned. How this practice is managed and delivered may vary from physical team of people on shift work or distributed mix of people connected virtually, automated technology, and both. The function and value remain the same regardless of the model. No matter how efficient the service desk is, there will be always issues that need escalation and support from other teams. Support and development team need to work in close collaboration with the service desk. Service desk with increased automation, AI, robotics process automation, RPA, and chatbots, service desks are moving to provide more self-service logging and resolution directly via online portals and mobile applications. The impact on service desk is less phone contact, less low-level work, and greater ability to focus on excellent CX when personal contact is needed. The service desk should work in close collaboration with support and development teams. Service desk provide a variety of channels for accesses, including phone calls, including IVR, service portals and mobile applications, emails, social media. Working service desks are becoming more prevalent in some areas where there are high peaks of activity that demand physical presence, higher education. Service desk can be centralized, located in a single location, for example, headquarters serving all the organization's locations. It should be knowledge bases, remote access control tools, good workflow systems from routing and escalation, located close to the customer's own location or within branch office. Virtual, through the use of technology, particularly in the internet, the use of corporate support tools, it is possible to give the impression of a single centralized service desk when in fact the personnel may be spread or located in any number of types of geographical or structural locations. This brings the options of home working, secondary support group, offshoring, outsourcing, or combination to meet the user demand. Service desk can be follow the sun, relies upon multiple service desks located in geographically dispersed region of the world. When a caller reaches the service desk, they are routed to the service desk that is operated at the given time frame. This is called follow the sun because it allows service desk analysts analysts to work during their local daytime hours, regardless of time zone of their users. By using 3 service desks spread across the different time zones, a company can provide 24-hour, 7 days operations to anywhere in the world, while their workforce only works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Service desk staff require training at a competency across a number of broad technical and business areas. In particular, they need to demonstrate excellent customer service skills such as empathy, incident analysis and prioritization, effective communication, and emotional intelligence. The key skill is to be able to fully understand and diagnose a specific incident in terms of business priority, and to take appropriate action to get resolved using available skills, knowledge, people, and processes. Service level management. The purpose of the service level management practices is to set clear business-based targets for service levels and ensure that delivery of service is properly addressed, monitored, and managed against these targets. Service level, one or more metrics that defines effective or achieved service quality. Service level agreement, the document agreement between service provider and the customer that identifies both required and expected level of service. Business analysis and commercial management are required competencies in this practice. Some the key requirements for the successful SLA include: they must be related to be defined service in the service catalog. They should be related to defined outcomes and not simply operational metrics. They should reflect on agreement between all stakeholders. They must be simply written and easy to understand and use for all parties. Service level management. The service level management provides the end-to-end visibility of organization's service. To achieve this, service level management should capture and report on service issues, including performance against defined service levels. Service level management depends on customer engagement, which involves initial listening, discovery and information capture of base metrics, measurement and ongoing processes, discussions, considering asking customers some often questions such as: what are your goals, objectives, and measurement for this year? How we help you more? Service level agreement always used to measure the performance of service from a customer's point of view. Service level management practices perform service reviews to ensure that the current set of service continues to meet the needs of organizations and each customers. Service request management. The purpose of service request management practices is support the upgrade quality of service by handling or predefined, user-initiated service requests in an effective and user-friendly manner. Service request, a request from a user or user's authorized representative that initiates a service action which has been upgraded as a normal part of service delivery. Each service request activity includes one or more of the following: a request for the service delivery action, for example, providing a report or replacing a toner cartridge; requesting information, how to create a document or what the hours of office are; a request for a provision of a resource or service, providing phone or laptop user, or providing a virtual server for development team; a request for access to a resource or service, for example, providing access to file or folder; feedback, compliment, and complaint about new interface, or compliment to a team. Service request management. Fulfillment of a service request may include changes to service and their component. Usually, these are the standard changes. Service requests are normal part of service delivery and are not failure or degradation of a service, which are handled as an incident. Service requests are predefined and pre-aged as normal part of service delivery. They can usually be formalized with a clear standard procedure for initiation, approval, fulfillment, and management. Some service requests have simply workflows, such as request information, and others, such as a setup of a new employee, may be quite complex and requires contribution of many teams and the system for fulfillment. Some services requests require authorization according to financial information security or other policies, while others may not need any. Service request management guidelines for successful handling of service requests. Service requests are their fulfillment. Fulfillment should be standardized and automated to the greatest degree possible. The step to fulfill service requests should be well known and proven. Policies should be established regarding what service requests will be fulfilled with limited or even no additional approvals, so that fulfillment can be streamlined. The expectations of users regarding fulfillment times should be clearly set based on what the organization can realistically deliver. Opportunities for improvement should be identified and implemented to produce faster fulfillment times and take advantage of automation. Deployment management. The purpose of the deployment management practice is to move new or change hardware, software documentation, processes, or any other component to live environment. It may also be involved in deployment component to other environment for testing or staging. Deployment management works closely with release management and change enablement, but is separate practice. In some organizations, the term provisioning is used to describe the deployment of infrastructure, and deployment is only used to mean software development and deployment. But in this case, the term deployment is used to mean both.